And a happy draft week, everybody. This is Troy here with the Half Court Report and coming at you with Mock Draft 6.0. Today, doing both rounds, all 58 picks. So make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Coming at you with some of the hottest NBA content that you're going to find on YouTube. So let's get into it because I know that everyone is so excited to hear where Ulrich Chomchi is going to get drafted in Mock Draft 6.0. But all kidding aside, first pick in the Mock Draft 6.0 going to be made by the Atlanta Hawks. Zaccharie Risacher is the pick. So this is a dude who is like 6'9", 6'10". He's a forward out of France. He's got the jumper. He's got the defense. He plays hard. He's got good basketball fundamentals just on the offensive and the defensive end. By all accounts, he's a hard worker, and you're drafting this guy hoping that down the line he becomes a Mikal Bridges type of player. So kind of like the third guy on a really good team. I do have some questions about him and just like how high of a ceiling that he does have, but I think by all accounts, a pretty safe pick for number one. Pick number two, going to be made by the Washington Wizards, and they are going with Alex Sarr, also out of France, but Alex Sarr, he is a 7'1" big man. His numbers don't jump off the page from this past year when he was playing in Australia, but you are drafting him hoping that he becomes a lockdown defender in the NBA, potential defensive player of the year candidate down the line. Something in the mold of Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson Jr., Nick Claxton. I have him going to Washington because the rumors are that this is pretty much locked in for the Wizards at the number 2 pick. They love Alex Sarr, so I have them picking him, and they need a lot of help on their roster. So Alex Sarr, you are the pick for Washington. Pick number 3, Houston Rockets are going with Reed Sheppard, guard out of the University of Kentucky. This guy just does it all on the court. Quick release, can shoot the cover off the ball, has defensive fundamentals, really high basketball IQ, a great teammate, solid defender, good steals, good blocks, maybe a little undersized, but if you really dig into the analytics, I think he would be a pretty solid pick for the Rockets. Pick number 4, going to be made by the San Antonio Spurs, and we have a trade. We have a trade, guys. Okay, this is just now been given to me. The San Antonio Spurs are trading Devontae Graham and Malachi Branham, along with the number 4 pick, to the Atlanta Hawks for Bogdan Bogdanovic and Zaccharie Risacher. So this number 4 pick is going to be going to Atlanta, and the pick is it's Donovan Clingan. Wow, this is huge. 7'3" Donovan Clingan, the newest member of the Atlanta Hawks. This guy, come on, enormous guy, enormous potential. He was a big reason for UConn's championship win just a couple months ago. Donovan Clingan, he could be like a Brook Lopez, Rudy Gobert type of player down the line, just dominates the paint with his size, his frame, his physicality. On a permanent basis, he was one of the most impactful players in college ball. So I think he would work really well with Atlanta no matter what they do with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. With Donovan Clingan, you have like your defensive anchor for the next 10 or 12 years. Pick number 5 going to be made by the Detroit Pistons, and they're going with Matas Buzelis, most recently out of the G League. So Buzelis, he's got length, he's got pretty good skill set in terms of offense and defense. He can play multiple positions on the court, handles the ball really well, shoots it okay, but is a little inconsistent, but he can block, he can rebound, needs to put on some weight, but there is a lot to like about Matas Buzelis. Lots of upside, and I think Detroit could help hone his skills, if you will. Pick number 6 going to be made by the Charlotte Hornets, and Stephon Castle is the pick, teammate of Donovan Clingan at UConn. But Castle, he impacts the game with defense, passing, just being that connective piece out there on the floor. His jumper needs to come around a little bit, but if it does, you're going to be looking at maybe the best player to come out of this draft but I love him for the Hornets. I like his play with LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller. I think he would be another good piece to add. Pick number 7 going to be made by the Portland Trail Blazers. Cody Williams, you are the pick out of Colorado. He's a 6'8 forward, younger brother of OKC's Jalen Williams. So Cody, he's good at getting the ball to his spots, using his length on defense. And I think there's value in those long, versatile wings in the NBA, so he checks a lot of boxes in that area. Needs to be a little more consistent, but hey, who among us doesn't, right? Pick number 8, going to be made by the San Antonio Spurs again. Dalton Knecht is the pick. Going to be teaming up with the recently acquired Zachary Risachet. But Knecht, super talented offensive player, shoots it like a madman. His defense, maybe not NBA level yet, but he can work on that, and San Antonio is a good place for him to do that. I know some people are going to say, well, he's just Doug McDermott. The Spurs had Doug McDermott. I see him more as a Bojan Bogdanovic type of player, but Victor Wembanyama, always good to put shooting around him, so I think it is a good fit. Pick number 9, going to be made by the Memphis Grizzlies. Hey, that's my team. We are going with Devin Carter, a guard out of Providence, and the son of Anthony Carter, a Memphis Grizzlies assistant coach. But Devin Carter, he just blew up this year offensively. He was already a great defender, but offensively his numbers were really, really solid. Big-time athlete, big-time shot maker, human highlight film out there, rebounds like a power forward. He is shooting up draft boards, so Memphis, they are good to get him at number 9. Pick number 10, going to be made by the Utah Jazz. Nikola Topic is the pick. Now, if not for his knee injury, I think he could be a top 3 pick, but he is sliding a little bit here due to that partially torn ACL, but he's a 6'6 guard from Serbia, most recently playing in the Adriatic League, but he has a smooth jumper. Just a little inconsistent with it. Needs to work on his defense a little bit too, but he has a really high basketball IQ and can make some pretty sweet passes out there. Pick number 11, Chicago Bulls. You are going with Tidjane Salaun, French player with a smooth stroke, really young in this draft, so lots of room for improvement. He's had some comparisons to like the French Giannis, and maybe that's a little overblown, but I see him as a guy who could make some noise in a couple of years. So worth taking a flyer on due to his potential. Lots of questions with Chicago's roster, so I like Salaun's potential with the Bulls. Pick number 12, Oklahoma City Thunder. They are going with Bub Carrington. He's a shooter, he's a playmaker, he is a pick and roll maestro. And Oklahoma City, they love players who can dribble, pass, and shoot, so Bub is perfect for that. So I see him as maybe Lou Williams on the low end, but if we're being 100% optimistic, maybe like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I mean, at the number 12 pick, that is amazing. Pick number 13, Sacramento Kings, Tristan da Silva is the pick here, teammate of Cody Williams at Colorado. But this is a guy who just knows how to play. He's a big forward, great floor spacer, good decision maker, high IQ, he hits the 3, good connective passer who isn't going to stick the ball, solid team defender. I think he would serve as that nice connective piece on a team like Sacramento. And if you'll recall last year, they brought in Sasha Vezenkov. That didn't really work out, but I see Tristan da Silva as being able to replicate a lot of things that they were wanting Vezenkov to be able to do, but maybe even at a higher level. Pick number 14, going to be made by the Portland Trail Blazers, and they are going with Khalil Ware. So he is a 7-footer, most recently played for Indiana, 7'5" wingspan, highly skilled center, decent post game, stretches the floor a little bit, big time athlete, explosive around the rim, good leaping ability, good size, long arms. Sky's the limit. If it all works out, Jared Allen type player is who you're going to be getting with Khalil Ware. Pick number 15 going to be made by the Miami Heat. And then another trade. Guys, we have another trade. Okay, what do we have here? This trade. The Miami Heat are trading pick number 15 and a future first-round pick to the Grizzlies for Pick number 9, Devin Carter. Wow, it's a big deal. And with pick number 15, the Grizzlies, by way of the Miami Heat, are selecting Zach Edey, the 7'5", 300-pound behemoth, one of the best players in college basketball for the last couple of years. This guy, low post savant who sets huge screens, great touch around the hoop, gets to the line a ton, converts free throws at over 70%. I know there's lots of questions. Is he too slow for the NBA? Who's he gonna guard? What's his defense gonna be like? But he is just too talented, and I think Zach Edey is gonna have a long and successful NBA career. Plus, there are lots of rumors that the Grizzlies are interested in Zach Edey. His high school coach is a friend of Ja Morant and Ja Morant's trainer. So there's just too much going on to think that Zach Edey wouldn't be a potential fit in Memphis, and just what he would be able to bring to this Memphis roster, setting the screens, helping guys get open for shots, rebounding down low, which is a huge concern for Memphis. I love this Zach Edey pick for the Grizzlies. Pick number 16, going to be made by the Philadelphia 76ers, and Jared McCain is the pick. 6'3" freshman from Duke. I think he'll end up late lottery, just outside of it by the time the draft rolls around, but plays hard, like his game. He's kind of a shooter, maybe a third guard on a team. Would like to see him play make a little bit more, but he can step into that shooter role for Philly from day one. Pick number 17, going to be made by the Los Angeles Lakers. This is a huge deal here. Ron Holland has fallen all the way to 17. Lakers get this pick. He was the number 1 recruit in the class of 2023. Athletic, good motor, aggressive, needs to be a better shooter from all over the floor, even free throw line, to be honest. But lots of room for growth with Holland. The Lakers are saying how they want to bring in guys, develop those players. And if Ron Holland, if he reaches what I think he could be, we're talking like a Jimmy Butler type of player, which of course, I don't have to tell you this, that would be huge. So, JJ Redick, work your magic, make Ron Holland the best he can be. And speaking of magic, the Orlando Magic, pick number 18, Kyle Filipowski is the pick. Big man from Duke who can shoot it from the perimeter, he can attack closeouts, he can handle the ball. His passing has taken a nice little leap this season, and he's more comfortable reading the floor. He's not going to kill you defensively, and I think that the Magic, since they are a little thin in the front court, he would be a really talented big man for them to draft. Pick number 19, going to be made by the Toronto Raptors, and the pick is Rob Dillingham, Kentucky guard, who has also taken a little bit of a tumble in this draft, but he's a pure athlete, blazing speed, electric on the court, playing above the rim, great handles, creates for himself and others. 44% from 3 on over 4 attempts this past year. That's really good for a freshman. So, you're looking at a Darius Garland type of player, potentially. And what is about Kentucky guards, but they always tend to do really well in the NBA. And I like this for Toronto, surrounding Scotty Barnes with more shooting. So, good pick for Toronto right here. Pick number 20, going to be made by the Cleveland Cavaliers. You guys ready for this? Bronny James is the pick. Guys, this would be the biggest NBA story of the year. The Cavs draft Bronny. LeBron signs with Cleveland in free agency. Father and son back together where it all started. Starting lineup of Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, LeBron, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. Coming off the bench, you got Bronny, Max Strus, Isaac Okoro. I love this what-if scenario, even if I don't completely love Bronny's game at this moment. But that's why you go to the NBA, develop, and get better. Pick number 21, going to be made by the New Orleans Pelicans, and Yves Missi is the pick. 7 foot, 7'5" wingspan, good athlete, rim runner, block shots. Kind of similar to Khalil Ware, who was a few picks ago, but he doesn't really stretch the floor like Ware does. But kind of a project, but elite tools if he puts it all together. Otherwise, he's a Kai Jones type of player. Pick number 22, Phoenix Suns select Isaiah Collier. Now, this pick could be on the move, so I have them going with who I think probably one of the better players available here in Collier. He was the #1 guard coming out of high school before last year's NCAA season, but he's a pass-first point guard. He gets downhill. He's built like a linebacker out there, lots of strength. The questions exist about his feel for the game and his shooting. Needs to cut down on his turnovers as well, but super talented, so getting him in the 20s is a really good get for somebody. Pick number 23, Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Algonquin for the good land. Baylor Shireman, Aurora, Nebraska's finest, is the pick. Shireman was an absolute killer in college when he played for Creighton, but nice all-around game, fills up the stat sheet, rebounds the ball. He was a former quarterback, though he brings that mindset to the floor of getting everyone involved, being a smart player. I think he could give Milwaukee minutes right away. I kind of see him as the Jaime Jaquez of this year's draft, an experienced player who's going to come in right away, and everybody's going to say, well, why wasn't this guy a top 10 pick? That is Baylor Shireman. Pick number 24, going to be made by the New York Knicks, and Deron Holmes out of Dayton. Solid interior player who is showing flashes of a perimeter game. He protects the rim. He's strong inside. I think he can expand his game even more. I think we're just scratching the surface of how good he could be. The Knicks, they need guys who can play right out of the gate. There are questions about Isaiah Hartenstein. Will they re-sign him? Will they trade Mitchell Robinson? So, Deron Holmes, welcome to the Big Apple. Spike Lee says hello. Pick number 25, Jacoby Walter is the pick also for the Knicks. They got 2 in a row here, but Jacoby Walter, instant offensive threat with his shot making and the way he can stretch the floor. He's good in catch and shoot situations. Not as high of a ceiling as some players, but I think a pretty high floor, so pretty safe pick, especially this late in the first round. But he's got a strong feel for the game, plays well within a team. And like I said about Holmes, the Knicks need guys who can step in right away, and I think that Walter would be able to give you some solid minutes. Pick number 26, the Washington Wizards select Tyler Kolek out of Marquette. This is a pure playmaker. Really good point guard. Makes his teammates better. He can score it, attacks the basket, smart defender, hits the three. And these Marquette guys, they're always tough as nails. They always come in with like a chip on their shoulder. So I love Tyler Kolek for the Wizards. And then he would be learning from a guy in Tyus Jones, who is one of the steadiest point guards in the entire NBA. So I like this pick. For the Wizards, pick number 27, the Minnesota Timberwolves are selecting Johnny Furphy from Lawrence, Kansas, and the University of, by way of somewhere in Australia. But he had an up and down season at KU, but he's super athletic. He can shoot it, he can rebound. Just get him on the Timberwolves, let him develop the right way. He can be really good. He has shown a lot of improvement in the last year and a half. Like a year and a half ago, people didn't even know who this guy was. He wasn't really even on draft boards, and now he's a pick in the 20s. So I like Johnny Furphy for the Timberwolves, and I think he would be able to get some minutes right away with his hustle. Johnny Hustle, Johnny Furphy. Pick number 28, Denver Nuggets, and KJ Simpson is the pick. Karen Josephine Simpson. If this guy were 5 inches taller, he'd be a top 5 pick, but he's only 6 foot. But he shoots it well, quick release, rebounds, he can defend, just a really, really good floor general, plays like a veteran out there. Denver needs a backup point guard, and he would be learning from one of the best in Jamal Murray. I like him for the Nuggets. Pick number 29, Utah Jazz. They are going with Jalen Tyson. He most recently played for Cal, but this is a guy who can step in right away and play. I think he can shoot it, he defends, he rebounds. Get him with other NBA players, and I think he would be a really solid complementary piece. And pick number 30, last pick of the first round. We have a whole nother round to go, though. But pick number 30, Boston, Pacome Dadiet is the pick. One of the younger players in this draft. He's a shooter out of France. Moves well without the ball. He can get open. get to his spots, good basketball IQ, some defensive potential down the line too. Maybe he's a draft and stash, or maybe he just comes over and Boston develops him with some of their other young guys like Jordan Walsh, Nemish Keita, make a run for another championship. Hey, let's go for it with Pacome Dadiet. Okay, that's going to be it for the first round. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video, make sure you are subbed up so you never miss another video from the Half Court Report and yours truly. Okay, pick number 31 is going to be made by the Toronto Raptors, and Bobby Klintman is the pick. So he's from Sweden, but he played in Australia last year. He even played college ball at Wake Forest too. So I've heard this guy's name for a while, but he's continuing to get better. He's got untapped potential. Excellent on the break. He can handle, makes nice passes. He can shoot it a little bit. For whatever reason, though, I get Anthony Randolph vibes from this guy. But, you know, first pick of the second round, not bad to take a swing on Bobby Klintman. Pick number 32, Utah Jazz are going with Tyler Smith. Very generic name, but not a very generic game. He's a 6'11" stretch big. He shoots it. He rebounds well. He needs to get stronger. His defense is pretty bad too. It's going to take some time for him to be a solid player, but he is a former 5-star recruit with lots of talent. Maybe if it all checks out, similar to former Orlando Magic player Rashard Lewis. Pick number 33, Milwaukee Bucks. Joining Baylor Shireman will be Cam Christie. He's your prototypical two-guard, really good three-point shooter, beautiful footwork. He can drain threes off movement or pulling up. He's a solid passer, good defender, he has length. And this is pretty cool, he's the brother of Lakers guard Max Christie. None of my sons are NBA players. In the Christie family, they have 2. Pick number 34, Portland Trail Blazers, Terrence Shannon Jr. He's the pick. Big-time athlete, pure wing who can handle, pass, defend. He's quick going down the floor. He's got the physical profile to be a great defender in the league. Older college player, so lots of experience. Portland, though, they need some older players with experience because they are a young team, let me tell you. Pick number 35, San Antonio Spurs, Kevin McCullough, also out of the University of Kansas. Some recent shooting success this past year, but does need to do it on a more consistent basis. Great two-way player, though. Solid basketball IQ. Makes plays for his teammates. Maybe some injury concerns with him, which has caused him to fall a little bit, but he's just too good to fall much past here. I think he could contribute right away for San Antonio. Pick number 36, Indiana Pacers are going with Jonathan Mobo. So he was a late bloomer who was shooting up draft boards. He doesn't have any sort of outside shot, but he's one of the most efficient scorers in college this past season. He's just money at the rim. Athletic, strong finisher, great rebounder, passes pretty well. Some of his game reminds me of Kenneth Faried, if you guys remember him with the Nuggets several years ago, but I like Jonathan Mobo. I think he's a good pick here. Pick number 37, Minnesota Timberwolves, A.J. Mitchell from UC Santa Barbara. Who are they? The Gauchos, I think, but he's a small school guard who may surprise some folks. Combo guard, plays on or off the ball, shoots it well from 3, moves well without the ball, gives effort on defense. Solid guy to have on your bench at pick number 37. Pick number 38, the New York Knicks, Ryan Dunn is the pick. One of the best defenders in college basketball. He rebounds, he blocks, he gets some steals, but he's just a really bad shooter from everywhere else, even the free throw line. Kind of think of him like Herb Jones, but with worse offense. Just needs loads of shooting improvement. I have him going to the Knicks because I think he would just make their defense even harder to deal with, but I said it in my last video, if Ryan Dunn ever learns to shoot, he's going to be a problem. Okay? Going to be a problem. Pick number 39, Memphis Grizzlies are going with Dylan Jones. And he's spelled just like Dylan Brooks. One of those small school guys who could end up being one of the better players in this draft, in my opinion. Solid handle, good passing vision, Finishes through contact, okay shooter, good rebounder. He had multiple double-digit rebound games, including a 23 rebound game somewhere in there. But I think he has big steal potential this late in the draft. Pick number 40, Portland Trailblazers, Nikola Jurisic. He's a shooter, maybe a little streaky, but good numbers in Europe. Nice feel for the game. Portland, they have lots of picks, so this is a guy they could draft and stash for a couple of years, and he may turn into something. Pick number 41, Jalen Bridges out of Baylor is the pick for Philly. Quintessential role player who enhances his teammates with his 3-and-D skills, shooter, clean mechanics, high IQ player, competitive defender, long wingspan. Hey, Philly could always use more shooting and guys who can play from the jump, so Jalen Bridges, I like you in the city of brotherly love. Pick number 42, Charlotte Hornets, going with Jamal Shead. This guy is like a bowling ball out there, just really physical point guard, almost from the TJ McConnell, Javon Carter school of that feisty point guard who sets the tone off the bench. Jamal is going to bring it every night. Good playmaker, quintessential floor general. He could improve his shooting a little bit, but would be a great bench piece for Charlotte, and I think the fans would just love him as well. Pick number 43, Miami Heat, going with Justin Edwards for their pick. He is long, he's athletic, about a 6'7", 6'8" wing, pretty good defender. Didn't work out for him that well in Kentucky this past year, but remember, this is a guy who was the number 3 recruit coming out of high school. So there's a lot of talent, a lot of potential, and he has the tools and the look that NBA teams love. So a good guy for Miami to develop. He could be something down the line. Pick number 44, Houston Rockets, going with Keyshawn George. He looks the part of a big NBA wing. He shoots it well. He's a strong passer. Questions, though, about his body and his athleticism because he is on the skinny side, but one of those 3-and-D guys that all teams want to have. Pick number 45, Sacramento Kings, A.J. Johnson is the pick. He's a speedy guard, slick ball handler, played last year in Australia. One of those highly touted high school players that didn't do that well overseas. Just look at those numbers, but I think with a little more experience and consistency, could be something for Sacramento. Pick number 46, the LA Clippers are going with Cam Spencer, another UConn guy, one of the best shooters in the draft. High IQ, he shoots, he cuts, he moves, he gets teammates involved. This dude is just a winner. I love his leadership, and I really like that he just plays with tons of heart every single game. I think he would be perfect in that Clipper system as a guard off the bench. And I think just a really solid player who's maybe being undervalued a little bit in this draft. Pick number 47, the Orlando Magic are going with Harrison Ingram. He's a former Stanford man, but most recently played for the University of North Carolina. But he was on that good UNC team. Another one of those college players who does it all on the floor, shooting, crashes the boards, high IQ, good switchable player, a good get for the Magic in the 40s. Pick number 48, San Antonio Spurs, Adem Bona is the pick from UCLA. Super energy, big man, good hands, sets hard screens. He's physical on the boards. He's a lob threat, runs the floor hard and hustles. I think he could play with Vic. He could play without Vic. I think he would be that good interior presence for Wembanyama, but I like Adem Bona for the Spurs. And pick number 49, Indiana Pacers again with Oso Ighodaro from El Segundo, who drives an El Dorado. But he's your standard defender, low post scorer, rim runner kind of guy. You're not going to get threes with him. He is strictly close to the basket, but he does have good touch around the rim. I'd like to see him rebound a little better, protect the rim a little better too. But Oso Ighodaro, you're the pick. Pick number 50, also the Indiana Pacers, and Juan Nunez is the pick. Awesome passer and playmaker, but there are concerns about his defense and his shooting. Kind of reminiscent of Jose Calderon, another Spanish player who was in the NBA for a number of years. But Juan Nunez, and it might be a nice little draft and stash for the Pacers. Pick number 51, Washington Wizards select Ulrich Chomchi, youngest dude in the draft. He won't be 19 until December, but he's 6'11" from Cameroon. He played a few games for NBA Academy in Africa, but getting lots of buzz due to his size, length, and potential. Just a super raw player, one of those 2 years away from being 2 years away kind of guys. A guy that you take a chance on, maybe stash him for a couple of years. And Washington, they need to take swings, and Chomchi is a good one. Pick number 52, Golden State Warriors select Keshad Johnson from Arizona. Relentless motor, solid defender. If his outside shot becomes more consistent, he can have, I think, a long career in the NBA as a guy who might be a little undersized, but still brings a lot of value with his hustle and intangibles. Think something like Grant Williams, PJ Tucker, Jay Crowder. That's who you're going to get with Keshad Johnson. Pick number 53, Detroit Pistons, PJ Hall. Percival Jaqueline Hall is the pick. He's an all-around solid stretch big man, sets good screens, operates well in the pick and roll, maybe a little undersized at about 6'8", 6'9", so he doesn't offer a lot of rim protection. But Detroit, they need shooting, so PJ, Motor City is for you. Pick number 54, Boston Celtics select Tristan Newton, another UConn player. He's a winner. He's a glue guy. I think he would fit on most any team, but he can hustle, defend, he plays hard. Maybe some athletic limitations, but he's the type of leader that all teams need. Pick number 55, the Lakers select Trenton Flowers. The numbers don't pop off the page for Trenton, but loads of potential for him. Another highly talented high school player who went to play in Australia. He started out slow, but did okay as the year went on, but he's a good driver. He's a lob threat. He runs the floor hard in transition, developing as a shooter and defender, so a real boomer bust type of player for the Lakers to develop. Pick number 56, the Denver Nuggets select Jalen Wells. He was a late bloomer who has all the tools as a shooter, and teams are, just hoping now that his defense can catch up to his offense. He's shown he has the tools. He just needs to continue to make his mark in that area, but a good flyer in the 50s. Pick number 57, the Memphis Grizzlies select Quentin Post. 7-footer, one of the older guys in this draft, but good shooting percentages from three and from the line. He rebounds at a solid level, blocked nearly 2 shots per game to go along with 3 assists, so fills up that stat sheet, most recently at Boston College, but he went to Mississippi State, and I used to live in Starkville, and I even have a degree from there too. So I gotta support my former Bulldogs and all that. So Zach Kleiman, make it happen. Pick QP. What could go wrong? And the final pick in the draft, pick number 58, Dallas Mavericks select Antonio Reeves out of Kentucky. 3-point shooter. He's got deep range. He was a veteran on that Wildcats team. He does need to work on his defense. Probably needs to work on his flossing too, but, who among us doesn't? Antonio Reeves, pick number 58 for the second place Dallas Mavericks. Guys, that's the video for today. If you are obsessed with the draft like I am, then I need you to comment me likey the draft so I can see it and know that you're a draft fiend just like I am. But thank you so much for watching this video. Would love if you drop a like. Would love if you subscribe to the channel. Videos like this take so much time. Lots of research, lots of editing. I'm going to be up for the next several hours taking care of it. So show some love by supporting the channel. And make sure you hang with the Half Court Report all through the draft, in through the off season. Lots of videos, lots of content coming at you at all times. So with that, we'll see you next time on the Half Court Report.